Fox News Smart Talk all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning and welcome to Guardian Radio Live. This is C.A. Newry and I shall be your host for today. Apparently I'm shouting inside the mic. And I have, you come across a phenomenon? We came across a superstar inside the Bahamas, a 17-year-old soccer sensation who is making the rounds. I mean, they're talking about him all over the Bahamas, all over the Caribbean, because what this guy is doing, they say is a phenomenon. Recently, he has been named as the best footballer or soccer player in the Bahamas for a 17-year-old. And in fact, he was so good that he played for the national team for the World Cup qualification. And also he played for representing the Bahamas for CONCACAF. Thank you very much, Aaron. And see, this is big thing. This ain't no normal. For a young person at the age of 17 to make it so far where international persons are now saying, how is he there in the Bahamas? Who has been his coach? Who has made this thing even possible? And I said, man, no, he got to come on the show. And I know normally Aaron would be the person who to claim these sports fanatics show. And I say, Aaron, I got to get him on the show now. And this got to interrupt everything because this is an honor student, right? Who studies all the time. However, he's traveling the globe just to play soccer. And he has some big things. And I say, hey, I got to find out how is he doing this? So without further ado, I want to welcome Kanaz Swain. Fox Radio Center, Mike.
No, you got to put it right to your mouth all the time and talk like that.
Good day. Nice to be here. Blessed to be here.
Good. And I know you're a little nervous being in front of the mic and everything, right? Yeah. But I want to know about you. And I know Aaron want to ask some sports questions about you. How old are you? What school do you attend? How did you get into soccer?
And you missed the first one. First of all, Kanaz, welcome to the radio. Established protocol is for a young person. You have to tell us who you is, who you for, and where you from.
You changed the whole dynamics on that. But yes, we want that.
Well, my name is Kenaz Swain, like they said.
Right into the mic.
Kenaz Swain, like they said. I'm 17 years old. I attend Kingsway Academy. My mother is Joy Swain, and my father, who passed, is Atlee Swain. So, yeah.
All right.
So how you get into soccer?
Actually, a friend of mine introduced me to the soccer like when I was 7, so that's like 10 years ago. And that was the first practice at Pirates in Blairwood. So that was the first practice he invited me to, and ever since then, that's when I took off and I started playing. I actually started playing basketball first. I was big in basketball.
And you're an honor student at Kingsway, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I've seen the pictures of you getting all the awards, like tons and tons. So you're a smart guy. You're not average. You're a smart guy. But you play soccer all day.
But hold on, but soccer is a thinking man's game.
Yeah, but he plays soccer all day. How does he able to balance academics and soccer? He plays soccer all day. He lives and breathes soccer.
Well, I mean, it's the dedication, you have to stay dedicated. At the end of the day, soccer is my sport, but you need something to fall on. You need academics, and you need to have dedication. And, yeah, education is number one in the family. So, you have to be on top of your game in education.
Like now, when you say that the school and your family, did they tell you, listen, academics first? If you're not hitting the mark, you can't play soccer.
Sure. Especially my mother. She's strict on that. So anything I slip on, she makes sure I'm on it, and on an education. So yeah.
Absolutely.
So I want to talk about this recognition, right? There's an international body saying that they ranked all the Caribbean, right? And the region, the Spanish Caribbean and the islands. What do you call that? The Latin American and Caribbean, right? And they ranked all the top ballers in this region. I expected to hear in Venezuela. I expected to hear
maybe a Honduras or Trinidad.
Them Spanish countries, maybe even Haiti, right?
Yeah,
even Jamaica.
Or even a reggae boy. Yeah.
But to hear a Bahamian has been listed as the best. But where you play? You play center back, and right back midfielder, right? Especially in that particular area, to be ranked as the number one, right?
Hold on,
That-
you ranked as the number one center back, like in your position. And what age group?
U17. Well, I played men's, but they qualified me for U17.
So you gotta understand that.
Yeah.
Despite being 17 and supposed to be playing under 17, he has been proliferated, pushed forward to play and represent for the national men's team.
You cheat. You cheat.
He skipped.
You getting all of the men's training, but that's good. I mean, that's the best way to do
It's
it.
a lot of experience.
Yeah.
I remember my first time playing, my first game, it was big. Like the crowds was loud.
Huge, loud.
So it's a lot of experience, and those are like big players, like they're men, and they play in foreign leagues like MLS and South America, like you mentioned. So they play in big leagues. So it was a good experience when I first played. So, yeah.
So where did you play first of all? I mean, for that international
My
experience.
first game was in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where all have you traveled so far?
I've been to like Puerto Rico. I've been Nicaragua. I've been Trinidad. Well, I've actually played in U17, the low groups. So we play in IMG in Tampa, Florida. That's where we
Okay.
played. That's all I remember right now.
Yeah. But see, and Aaron, why it was such a big thing. You got to understand that he's under 17. This is a young man. Forgive me for saying, he's a boy. This is a boy. And this boy plays amongst men. And not no average men, no. This is the best in the region. Like I say, Latin America. And he's cutting behind down there. Tell the people, I'm saying, he's not regular. They're saying that he is the best in the region. And I said, remember, because I played soccer in high school, right? And, we tried just be QC and St. Andrews those, right? And say,
Yeah.
we're doing this. This German
I mean,
here.
trying
Yeah,
to
trying.
do
We
this.
didn't beat it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
This German is the best in the region. That means he's being ranked with, like I say, people in Venezuela. I try to remember where Maradona is from. Brazil.
Argentina.
And Argentina, right? And that we have a Bahamian that is ranked so high. And so therefore we need to herald him and know who his name is, who his family is, put his face out there. So we understand what kind of accomplishment this is.
That's a lot of places you name, but I have the most important question. Have you, what island are you from? That's why I asked you where you're from. What island are you from? And have you identified the Bahama Games team that you will be playing soccer for? That's what I
That's
need to
nice.
know.
Okay.
I think they're fielding, they said they're going to have soccer for Bahama Games. Who you playing for?
Bahama Games. Oh,
Oh.
Don't mind. I understand. We still waiting on the list of where all teams playing for Bahama Games, so I don't blame you.
You good
There's a
with that?
testimonial for that in general, but go ahead.
Yeah.
so my father's from Abaco.
You can play for Abaco then. Give them a fighting chance.
Where you mommy from?
My mom is from Cat Island.
Oh, you can play there too. Give them a fighting chance.
Yeah.
But if you play for New Providence, they win automatically.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
a stronger team.
You don't know. We don't need you. I mean, we like you. We love you. But Cat Island and Abaco need you, man.
So what's your future plans? I want to know. You're in grade 12 now,
Yeah, grade 12.
so that means we're talking possible college now, possible scholarships. I know there are people who try to recruit you now, and so you can travel. Because of who you are. Because I mean, they even have American scouts saying, "Man, how is this sensation being trained in the Bahamas? How is this even possible?" Right. So, what are your plans? Where you want to go? What is the plan for you?
So like I said, education is also a factor in my career. So I've applied to many schools, and it's just a matter of picking an option. So I applied in Canada and England, and those two are my two options. I'm not so particular in U.S.
Okay, Canada or England, right? Because of the soccer or because of the ability to do soccer and great academic
The
choices.
ability to do soccer.
And the great academic
Any
choices.
particular school that you throw out there?
Yeah.
York University and McGill.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know McGill University. That's a business school, business college in the United
Okay,
States.
so-
Canada.
Is soccer your career or is soccer your dream?
Well, soccer is my dream. Yeah. So I'm working on making it my career.
All right.
So far, it's going
Professional
good.
footballer.
Yeah. So
Nice.
far,
Right.
it's going good.
Because if you go, like Mr. Newry said, McGill is a business school, but that doesn't mean that you leave the world of soccer
Yeah.
if you focus on business,
Because
right?
I feel as though I could I could do my business at the same time I do my soccer.
Okay.
Yeah, we consider going to one of those South American universities.
Yeah, I've considered. It's in my mind. I have a lot of things in my mind pending, and it's just a matter of which one I decide to choose.
All right, now I got another question for you. What a sports academy, like a soccer academy, a space where a young athlete like yourself can live in a training facility, be connected to your school, and still, have a support team to facilitate you doing school, but to help young athletes in a collection, in a collective, talk about and consider decisions like this. What school should I go to? What opportunities are available? If I want to just live, breathe, and sweat soccer, what are the career opportunities that are available to me in that realm if I can no longer play soccer?
The career opportunities. Also, you could do coaching. You could do physiotherapy because the regular sports and activities we do. We can do sports counseling, I guess. We could do that. So yeah, it's a bunch you could do related to the sports factor because we play sports. We know the activities we do and the exercises we do to get fit. So you could do a trainer. You could do all those. So yeah.
Awesome. So what are you thinking about?
Well, I actually like science and business, like you said. So I would, if it was something I would fall back on, it would probably be like science, maybe environmental science, or maybe like a bio or something, or business or commerce,
All right. Absolutely. Inside Caribbean Football. Is this the publication that has listed you as number one in the country?
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. What other publications have featured you, or we can find highlights about your career in?
Well, you could Google me on Google. You just type in my name, Kenard Swain, and the records pop up.
All right. Are you playing local high school soccer?
Yes, ma'am.
And your league has just started, right?
Yes, ma'am.
When was
On
your
Wednesday.
first game?
Well, our first game on Wednesday. They canceled our first game because we have midterm break.
You sure? I think they were scared of you.
Well, yeah, pretty much. But our first game is on Wednesday. We play Windsor, I think.
This Wednesday, where y'all playing?
I think it's a away game.
An away game, so you'll be playing at Windsor
Windsor.
Academy.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not sure. I have to look at this.
All right, like one part of me wants to say all of y'all people go out there and support these young people. The other part of me has to say before you go to any school, but you're going to go watch a school game, contact the administrator's office and get permission to go on campus to watch the young people play, please.
So Kingsway has a good soccer team? Because I remember playing against it and it wasn't pretty good. I mean,
Well, right
you
now-
there now.
Yeah, I'm here. So right now, it's developing again. We had a athletic director, but I think he went somewhere else, and he was pretty good in developing the soccer team.
Program.
Yeah,
Okay.
So we should expect good things.
So, right now, we'll see what happens.
Okay, who is the best high school team in the league right now? I'm a QC Comet, and I am inclined to say that it's QC.
Well, playing club soccer, knowing both all the teams and the players, I would say Life for Key right now or St. Andrews because of the players they have and the amount of good players that they have. I'd say those two.
Now, are we talking record or potential?
Record potential. I don't know. It's evenly distributed among some schools. So like QC has a lot of good potential players. Life for Key, like I said. St. Andrews, like I said. St. Anne's has a good team as well, but everybody has an even chance, I think. At the same time.
What training, like outside of your school and outside of the club, what training opportunities are available to young athletes in soccer, and what advice do you have for young people who are realizing that now is the time to start putting in the work of building a professional career?
Well, it's just dedication to yourself, There's private lessons that they have when they training certain people. You could do one-on-one sessions, or you could do sessions by yourself. We have the internet and YouTube now, so you go on YouTube and you could look at the different drills that they have. You could lay out You could use like coconuts and stuff like that off the tree, and you could do your own thing. Like I remember, I used to during the summer I used to go running, and I used to go on the beach and do workouts. And I remember I didn't have no cones, so I'd use like we have a big coconut tree, and the old rotten coconut tree would fall off the tree. I would use those to like markers and cones to dribble through. So yeah, you could do it in the backyard. You could do your fitness. You could do your abs, your push-ups. You know, it's strength and work, and just bet off yourself. It's dedication to yourself. It's perfecting your craft. So yeah.
So the club you play for is the Western Warriors?
Yeah, Western Warriors.
And say I want to follow you, right? To say, let me see your career and see you play. Where do you practice, I guess, Western Warriors in general?
Well, we have a Instagram page and a Facebook page,
Okay.
Western Warriors. You can just Google the name.
Google that, okay.
Yeah, we practice at Stapleton Gardens on the park. So we practice there. We have a under 13 team, a under 15 team, a under 17 team, and a men's team. So
Okay.
we have all.
That's
And
that's
you play
great.
under 17?
Yeah. I play
Oh,
under
okay.
17.
Okay.
So, quick question. On my sports segment on Fridays, a lot of focus on sports and sports tourism, right? Drills and skills soccer. Do you think we have enough talent in the country and in the region to drive like a tourism product where we invite tourists to come in and compete against our best drills and skills players?
Most definitely. In a way, we sort of do that now because we have beach soccer. I don't know if you've been to the
stadium there?
games.
I like the
on
stadium,
the
but it's too
bridge?
much sand.
The games. Have you been to the games that they hosted?
I played when the Bahamas played against one of those Caribbean countries.
Yeah. So
And we won too. Yeah.
So we have talent in beach soccer, we have talent in grass soccer, futsal soccer. We have talent all over. You know?
Yeah.
So I believe that is something we could do.
Okay, now quick question for my soccer aficionados, the fans. You see the soccer that our brothers and sisters are playing in Africa, right? They're playing with a smaller ball and they're doing the dance. They're using like the Jenga, right? The mix of Japanese and African skills on the court. Is where it's more skills and showing off than actual scoring and playing the game. Has that sports I'd say discipline, because it's a whole sport. Has that come over to this side of the world yet? And are you seeing those types of skills displayed on the field?
I would say the skills are more like standard. So I don't know if you've watched the leagues in Europe,
Yeah.
like Lionel Messi and those.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the skills we typically do here. We practice them. We try to mimic those players.
Now, you know, all of those guys are mimicking Pele, the greatest ever, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Odd question. Once upon a time, they said it's a style of soccer. What type of style of soccer do we play here? Is that a real thing, like a style of soccer?
Well, everybody does have their style. So I would say we play. Well, because we're so close to the USA, I think we're heavily influenced in like the style that they play. So it's more like passing and trying to dribble through players. So
Yeah.
I think it's more.
Do you think the Bahamas could become the capital of the nutmeg? The nutmeg, listen, that's when you see. The nutmeg is when you slip the ball through
someone's
the
leg.
opponent's legs,
Yeah.
right? And I figure the home of the Chickchani, the most mischievous creature in the history of the world, should be the home of the nutmeg.
Well, yeah, we have the potential to do it. So I think so. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know Aaron mentioned similar to the baseball school. What do they call that? The clinics, the school,
Like the academy.
the academy.
Yeah.
Would you support a soccer academy? Would you have attended a school that only did soccer, and then of course academics come on the tail end, that's homeschooling type of thing?
Are you saying like in the past, like if I?
No, would you support such a thing?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So do you think the Bahamas need such a thing?
Well, I don't know, because we have clubs, like I say, and those clubs tend to really do enough to develop players. But if you want to take it to the next level, I'd suggest it. You know?
And see, what I'm thinking of is that there's tons of talent here. The thing about soccer is, to my audience, like, I don't want to say it's a poor man's game, but soccer is a game you could play anywhere. You don't even need shoes. Right? And notice what you find, the reason that soccer is so popular is because everyone plays it anywhere, to the point where communities dedicate space to it. You just know it's 3 o'clock. Then by them coming to play soccer, don't play around. Right? And so for the poorest of our people, where the most talent may sit. And what an academy does is it provides equitable access because it's
resources and stuff.
right. It's the kid who can get to practice that that gets the time on the field, and an academy would sort of equalize it. But at the same time, we need to question the young athletes themselves, like you know, what you got, how you learned soccer, how you were living, was that effective for you? Like the struggle, the school, because I know Kingsway is Gia's schoolwork, and Kingsway are focused on academics. What was your experience like?
Well, for me, when I was first introduced to soccer, I really developed a passion for it. I remember we'd have days when like it was rainy and practice would be canceled, and I'd cry because I wanted to go to practice. So it was a big passion for me. So I really like would develop and take time out of my day. Even though I have schoolwork, I'd go outside and I'd work on my skills and like try to like look at videos like Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, and Messi and try to be like them and perfect my footwork. So yeah, I believe that the academy would boost because it would provide adequate like food and nourishment for those players to better them. So yeah, I'd say the academy is like would benefit us, but we could
Another quick question:
Right.
Family Island or New Providence?
Family Island or New Providence.
Yeah, for the academy.
Well, Family Island, you probably have like space to do it, but New Providence, I'd say New Providence because you have more access and resources here.
Yeah, okay, got you.
Okay, and before we conclude this segment, right? Recommendations to the government, recommendations to the league. That is your opportunity now to tell the whole world, I think these things need to be happening.
Okay, so well, what I see they started doing now is recording our games. Well, it's finally because we need recognition. Like for example, me here. So we need recognition. So I think that we should try to make it big amongst the behemoths as well, so we have support coming. We could televise it. We can get better facilities.
And I like recording the games because then players now have tape, right? It builds like institutional structure because now you could go and look at a year of tape from your competitors and from your own team. So your team could say, oh, look here, Johnny, 4 times in a row you do that thing, but on the 5th time you got it,
But it's tapes to show the colleges as well, because colleges wanna and scouts wanna like scouts come. Well, we don't have scouts. I don't think we have as many scouts come down. So we it would be better if we have like camps and like where players can play and scouts can see what they have and
That makes sense.
But look here, this is brilliant. Let me just throw this idea in there, Cecil. I am neighbors with, I want to say, a prolific local soccer coach, Mr. Leslie Mins. And when he was coaching his teams, I know that they went to Disney World to play, right? Like Disney World hosts tournaments, right? And I just want to say this while we're here. Disney World is now a corporate partner with the Ministry of Tourism in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, right? Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could get Disney company that works and operates in the Bahamas to sponsor a local team, a Caribbean team, like a West Indies team or a Bahamian team, and then host tournaments specifically for Caribbean players and Bahamian players to come up and play with and train with athletes in the U.S.
Good.
That would be good.
So we've been talking to Kanaz Swain, who's an honor student at Kingsway Academy, who's actually a midfielder, and he has been ranked as the best midfielder in the under 17, right, by an international organization.
Inside Caribbean football.
Inside Caribbean football for this region. So this is something we're celebrating, and we brought him here to help to recognize him, let him know that, hey, we impressed. We impressed. And congratulations to you. But go ahead.
Let's test him. Finally have a student in here, and we could test him.
Yeah. But what grade 11 or grade 12? Grade 12?
Grade 12.
Okay.
Let that boy study his
National
GCSE.
national sport.
No, he ain't gonna know the best. Who the national
sport.
What
sport
do you
is.
think it should be?
cricket, huh?
No, oh, good. You got that right. What do you think
I
it should
impressed
be?
It should be track and field.
You think it should be track and use a
And
soccer
not,
player?
and not sailing?
Not sailing.
Yeah.
Not baseball?
You know anyone who sails?
I know one person who sails,
Oh, okay, good.
but the majority is track. Like I know a lot of track and field persons. I've seen a lot of baseball persons like got signed recently. Or a bunch of my friends have got signed. So yeah, but I'd say track because track. I think that more goes into track over here, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys see it, but there's more like track and field happening, events happening. Over
I
here.
understand that. And that's a good argument. But anyway, we're going to take a short break now as we transition to the next segment. Congratulations, Mr. Swain.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
And I thought you was going to say parking should be national sport.
I like
I was
parking.
almost
We
certain.
can play parking. That could be a national sport.
Like it, yeah.
Guardian Radio in the AM. We'll see you in Newry. Be right back.
The Office of Alumni Affairs at University of the Bahamas, in partnership with its Alumni Association, invite you to attend the annual Alumni Hall of Fame and Outstanding Alumni Award Ceremony. Come and enjoy a night of elegance, nostalgia, and celebrations on Saturday, 25th of February, as the university honors alumni who are making a difference and contributing to the growth and development of the Bahamas, like Lisa Gibson Woodside, Philip Simon, Dr. Camille Smith, Aurelia Pinder, Ariana Roberts, Troy Clark, and Troy Strawn. That's University of the Bahamas Annual Hall of Fame and Outstanding Alumni Award Ceremony, Saturday, 25th February at 7 p.m. at Crypto Isle on East Bay Street. You don't want to miss it.
Girl, you see how Cora eye look funny, all black up yesterday?
But she say she bumped into a wall when she's running after the churn them.
Yeah, but last Saturday you see her arm was all black and blue, right?
So what you saying? You think something wrong between her and Jack?
I ain't sure, but you know Jack is a jealous man. I hear him and Cora last Friday. I hear him say he hear Cora have eyes for Junior.
Now you know that ain't true. Cora is a good woman, does mind her business, take care of them churn, and go to church every Sunday. So what you think we should do?
I think we should report Jack, you know. Cora don't say nothing, but silence hides violence, and we don't want to line up in the cemetery.
Not me. I ain't getting in nobody business, then Jack come after me, and I land up next to Cora.
No, man, we could call a text Crime Stopper. And remember, we can even get some grocery money for our tip.
Remind me again, how does this work?
We can call them in Miami at 328-TIPS or 328-8477. Or when we in the island, call toll-free at 300-TIPS or 300-8477. And if you don't have no minutes, use the Crack Crime Bahamas app and we could text them. And the messages get all mixed up before it leave your phone so nobody can know what you saying.
So what we waiting on then? Let's go earn some grocery money.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
And welcome back to Guardian Radio in the AM. And I have something interesting to read, Aaron, right? And I want your commentary on this. This startled me because it rubbed me the wrong way. And I'll read it to you, right? There's this report, and of course it's by our very own Jasper Ward, right? This is a quote from the Prime Minister. This is a decision I made for the benefit of all Bahamians. Okay, my phone just shut off. Okay, let me do it again. This is a decision I made for the benefit for all Bahamians and future generation of Bahamians. The Bahamas is for Bahamians and for those who are prepared to follow the laws of our country. We simply cannot afford open borders, right? And that sounds good. But my problem with it is this is a decision I made for the benefit of the Bahamas. And this is the Prime Minister speaking when he said, I think, what it was at the, oh God, not CARICOM.
The national address?
He said this during the national address, but this was when the international body was lobbying for the Bahamas to be a place for refugees.
Oh, at the summit.
The summit.
He's referencing.
He's
the
referenced
summit
that
of American
and said that
Community.
he made a decision for the benefit of the Bahamas. And I got the issue with the term I. I is not democratic. I is anti-democratic because he speaks on reference for we, us, right? The Prime Minister needs to appreciate that he represents the country and that he speaks for cabinet and cabinet makes the decision for policies moving the Bahamas. So the policy could not be I. Mm-hmm. The policy of the Bahamas cannot be an I thing. The policy has to be a we thing. We have come to the conclusion that this is not good for the Bahamas. Mm-hmm. And he made the statement of I throughout his entire speech that I made a decision, and so I should be rewarded. I should be recognized for being the savior of the Bahamas, because if I didn't do this, the whole entire Bahamas with a Plymouth, and we were being overwhelmed by immigrants. But I saved us. And I said, I'm not sure if the Prime Minister understands what he's saying. I'm not sure if the Cabinet understands what he is saying. But that I is anti-democratic, and we need to get that I out of his mouth. We need to get his mouth here with that soap and say, let me wash that I out of your mouth, right? Because it cannot be I, because policy about the Bahamas is a group decision. Or is it?
It should be. Not only should it be a group decision, cabinet, what? Equals among equals, right?
First amongst equals.
But that those policies should also be weighed against the voice of the people, right?
And this is not just once it has happened. We see that when the unions are having issues with the substantive minister, they run to the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister is the one that solves it. And I said, but that is not first amongst equals,
Hold on.
right?
Not just
go ahead.
Not just unionists. When private business people, when the business sector, individually and collectively have issues, they ignore the relevant ministers and agencies and go straight to the Prime Minister. And I noticed that even housing associations, even informal associations like housing associations.
I see that. In fact, we see that gated communities write and speak to the Prime Minister directly. They circumvent all the ministers. And I have a text that said, you just nitpicking. The Prime Minister should be able to circumvent these ministers anyway, because he is the Prime Minister. This is a text to us say, no, we nitpicking, and that the Prime Minister have the authority to make all decisions, right?
No, he
outside.
does. He does.
No.
Pause.
That's what you have cabinet for,
Right.
or throwaway cabinet.
Paul, no, because here's what it is.
Go ahead.
The person who stands as the Prime Minister can operate in that way. The cabinet have a different power. And the members of the House of Assembly have a different power. The cabinet could say no. And then go back to the House of Assembly and determine that that person who is now the Prime Minister is no longer fit
To be Prime Minister.
to be Prime Minister.
But it seems as if the Prime Minister dictates the cabinet, and that their consideration is not important, and especially when you speak about democracy.
Right.
When is democracy important, or does the look of the perceive of democracy is important?
This is the question. I keep talking about the dangers of the importation of party policy into governance, right? There's a danger when the leader of the party is also the leader of the government. And when the chairman of the party does not have separate and equal power as the leader of the party. Because there should be a tension between what the PM and between the PM and the cabinet ministers, between the leader of the party and the parliamentarians that hold the majority, and between the leader of the party and the chairman of the party, so that the MP has to balance his obligation between the cabinet and the cabinet and the leader of the party in the House and the people.
You sound like you're trying to push the MP for Fox Hill out from being the chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party and minister, because all that is one, and they could be operated as one. And you want the roles be defined and different. And I see that you're playing on the slick.
They can't be operated as one, and you know how I know?
Why not?
Otherwise, the minister responsible for foreign affairs would not continually address himself as the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the PLP party chairman. There's a reason why he does that.
Recently, on a Bermuda trip, say bringing the Bermuda trip up, right? The Prime Minister acknowledged that party business, as in terms of the traveling fees, happened, and it should not have happened. He wants to correct it, so therefore his party will pay for it, because he went as a Prime Minister, but it was actually a, in quotes, personal trip, and it shouldn't have. Now, mind you, we've heard that the second part has been paid for, but we don't know how much it was. We don't know if it was received or anything. And to this day, the Prime Minister, not the leader of the party, has yet to address it. And so when I see the text, it's saying, "Oh, you're nitpicking about democracy and whether they should be separate and apart," right? This is a prime example of that when democracy dictates.
Hold on,
right?
you didn't add the separate and apart part. Dear texter, I'm going to ask you to go to the Eugene DePuch Law School Legal Aid Clinic and ask them to point you in the direction of the Constitution and the segment that speaks specifically to the separation of powers. Your Constitution tells you that they are to be separate, and the Constitution gives you a sense of why they are to be separate. They cannot be the same. This is what I'm saying, is one of the things that we've allowed to happen is the bastardization of our democracy by allowing the importation of party policy and protocol into governance. Prime example, the Constitution does not create the position of deputy prime minister. That is a function of a political party to create a hierarchy of power. Our Constitution does not provide for that, nor does it provide for all of the invoices that come with outfitting the office.
I have a next text here that says, "Stop it. If the government decision is unpopular, the PM carries the blame, doesn't he?" And that's not necessarily so, eh?
No, it's not necessarily so. And it does not matter because the political culture will tell us all mistakes will be paid for in the election booth. When the Constitution tells us that there are provisions made for addressing breaches, mistakes, crimes, not in the election booth, by using the laws that are laid out by the acts empowered by the Constitution.
So I ask you this. At the meeting that the Prime Minister, the name keep on escaping me, where he voted, when he said that Jamaica voted to take in...
Okay, so the Summit of Americas meeting June 2022, and we're talking about what I deem, it's the only term I've seen the U.S. use to reference it, the lily pad plan.
Yes. And the Prime Minister said he was one of the only countries to vote, say that their country, the host country, the Bahamas, will not accept this, will not be embracing refugees into the country, right? Instead, he said countries like Barbados and Jamaica signed on to this, right? Mm-hmm. I want to know, could he have made that decision independent of cabinet, independent of what the Bahamas thinks, and say, well, on a whim, I think it's good for the Bahamas?
I don't think so.
See, and then the idea that he's saying, I have made a decision. I am the one who saved us from this, and I could have voted differently. Not like, see, I have a problem with the term I. Mm-hmm. The I is insulting. And knowing that he had no choice.
And then, let's delve just a little further. Are you suggesting that you were invited to the Summit of the Americas meeting in 2022, along with a number of other regional leaders, and out of the blue, that you were surprised that the U.S. government snuck in a discussion and agreement on migration that you were not prepared for, and then attempted to pressure you to sign it? And in that moment, you made the decision that you were not going to sign it?
Look where you're going.
Because a decision of this nature, such a grand decision, must have been brought to you before the meeting. Certainly, the meeting was to conclude the process, right? And that people had considered the agreement on the table and then come to the meeting to sign or not sign, which would suggest then that you had sufficient time for public consultation, or at the very least with your most important national stakeholders, which would also include civil society actors. See, I with you.
I listen.
There is no possible way that this could be a thing that a prime minister could sign and say, I made the decision.
I see this text is reminding me that cabinet ministers serve at the pleasure of the PM. He is in charge. However, the PM serve at the pleasure of the MPs.
Of the majority of MPs.
Majority of the
Yes,
MPs. So if the majority say he got to go as PM, he got to go.
And the Loretta Butler Turner coup showed us that.
Yes.
The same provisions stand for the leader of the government.
Right.
If the majority no longer hold confidence in him, they could be removed.
I see we have a caller here. Producer Patch, the caller through. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I'm wondering, what about Grenada? Is Grenada under the Commonwealth?
I think Grenada's U.S. I mean British Virgin Islands.
No,
is
no,
it?
no,
Where's
no, no,
Grenada?
no, 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 no.
I will have to check. We
No,
checking
I'm
now.
checking right now.
We Google that now,
Go
sir.
on.
But go ahead with your point. Let me check it for
No,
you.
but what I'm trying to say is, I never heard that Grenada doing anything. It seems like there's no problem in Grenada.
Oh, you mean post the coup, post the American invasion of Grenada?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they have. I think Grenada is still in the Commonwealth. Grenada is a Commonwealth realm with Charles III as head of state represented locally by a governor general. Grenada is a particular case. I'd like to thank you for raising it because what is Grenada's position? How are they operating in the Commonwealth, in the region, post the coup and the invasion of Grenada?
I'd like to also mention that the Foreign Affairs Minister has committed Bahamian troops, Bahamian Defense Force officers, to go into Haiti pending if one of the substantial countries like the United States, UN, Canada plans to move in, right? And I would like to know, is the Bahamian people comfortable with that? But he said that there's a peacekeeping force.
Why are you worried about the Bahamian people? The Prime Minister already said that. You want me to read directly?
But as a director of the country, I assume that he could make an announcement, and I appreciate that. And Defense Force officers are men of war, so when their leaders determine that you go in the fight, they have no choice. You walk into doomsday. I understand that.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying let's ask the soldiers if they want to go. I'm saying, do you think that this is a decision? Like, why are you even asking the Bahamian people? Do you think this decision will be brought to them? Do you think that our feelings, our concerns will be considered in the decision?
See, my point is that Haiti is a quagmire, what do they call it, a powder keg waiting to explode, right? And I know the bulk of any kind of occupation have to be done by superpowers, right? So we will be there more like as a peacekeeping force or a support force, perhaps manning some kind of government office or whatever it is, or perhaps going in there to help with training, not necessarily being on the forefront. But because we cannot identify, in quotes, who the enemy is, right? Because the enemy look like us. They dark skin and have high cheekbones.
What?
My point is,
what?
Who the enemy is? See,
I like this. Just stop right there, because it's obvious we don't know who the enemy
But
is.
it's true.
I can tell you that much.
But see, I remember the Vietnam War, and you thinking that you know who the enemy is, and then they surprise you because the enemy end up being the children and being the women, the old women. And I said we going in these places and cannot identify who we fighting against. So we said, but we can't help you. Why are you so angry? See, I'm concerned about that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm concerned about that as well. I'm concerned about engendering, like escalating any tension,
especially when there's a local tension
Bahamians,
here.
Right. That's my concern. My concern is not we don't know who the enemy is. It's that even outside of the U.S. agreement, the Haitian-Bahamian dynamic is such that we are living with each other, even if it's sometimes it's tension-filled and tenuous at best. To put migrants on the ground, to put boots on the ground in Haiti without clear lines of communication, right? Without clear narratives and video documentation of what's happening on the ground, you can very easily build negative sentiment toward Bahamians, and then negative sentiment towards Haitians in the Bahamas if anything were to happen to our soldiers.
And I know that.
But at the same time, this is an important question because there's more than one reason to have boots on the ground.
No, we need to do something. I'm not saying we don't sit back and not do anything now.
I want observers. Like this article in the today's Guardian, CARICOM won't put boots on the ground in Haiti. It says the position taken by the regional leaders is to follow the lead of Canada and provide support, and it goes on the inner page.
So Canada becomes the leader.
first of all, I didn't vote for Justin Trudeau.
No, you didn't?
None of these Caribbean.
They are the leaders, though.
No, they're not.
We need to follow the lead
they're
of
not.
Canada.
No, they're not, and we don't need to.
Canada's committed money.
No, Canada allowed thousands and thousands of indigenous children to be killed in reservations and in churches in the
That have
country.
nothing to do with Canada. I mean, nothing to do with Haiti.
We are not following. Oh, man, let's talk about the human rights abuses and abuses against children.
Yeah, but we're trying to
in
fix Haiti. We're
while
trying to
Haiti
fix
was
Haiti.
under the control of foreign forces.
And this is
we're
why
talking about
CARICOM-
foreign forces.
This is why
I
CARICOM
want boots on the ground
is
to
saying
be
that
able to observe
it must be
what is
locally led.
happening.
We must be locally led, and so they want Haitians involved.
I mean,
so
that's what
as
that-
soon as we find out who could be the right Haitian,
That's what you say CARICOM said, and that's what the Prime Minister said CARICOM said. But I didn't hear CARICOM say that. I haven't seen any official statement from CARICOM saying they say that.
you
And
just
this
didn't attend
article-
any meetings.
And this article says the position taken by the regional leaders is to follow the lead of Canada. I mean, I could go on and provide support to just because
You don't want Canada to be our leaders?
I don't vote for Canadian people. I vote for Bahamians.
So who should lead? Remember, I say I have anxiety with having Bahamian boots on the ground.
CARICOM should lead.
Lead like how? And we doing what all we can do. We
Listen,
lobbying for help, though.
Here's the perpetuation of the plantation.
We will
model.
lobby United States next.
Here's the perpetuation of the plantation model. In 2023, global North governments are still trying to suggest to us that the fact that we don't have sufficient resources means that we lose our sovereignty and no longer can sit as central in decision making about our own lives. That's called plantation model economics and politics.
Anyway, we have a caller here. Patrick, caller through there, producer. Go ahead, caller.
Pardon me for calling back, but what I want to understand is the Prime Minister signed to be governed by Canada. You see, what's our the Minister of Canada decided? Did the Prime Minister of the Bahamas sign to go along with it? That's what we need to find out.
Well, we can try. We can ask the question. I appreciate you, Bremen. Let's go to the next caller there, producer. Go ahead, caller. Caller, can you hear me? No? Let's go to the next one. Caller, can you hear me? No for all three of them? Go ahead, Aaron. See, and Bremen asks, right, did we acquiesce our role as leader of the CARICOM, the Prime Minister, to be led the charge by Canada?
And normally I would say, listen, that's just foolish talk. But what I would like to know is, why did it take the Prime Minister so long to acknowledge what the 2022, the thrust of the Summit of the Americas meeting was about? The only reference he made to signing and not signing was uttering, I didn't sign any agreements while I was there. I was the only person I heard specifically referencing the idea of a U.S. Caribbean migrant plan. Right? And so I can understand why people are concerned and why they ask the question. Because it appears as if they share more information with other leaders than they do with the people who should actually be making the decisions.
We saw that in Bermuda when the Bermuda News detailed what was the conversation with the Bahamas trip. And to this day, we still don't understand what we went there for.
And it would not have ever been brought to our attention but for the snafu with the bill.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this is why I find it offensive when people say, you're nitpicking. You're nitpicking with the word I. But the I tells a culture or how they view us as Bahamians and who believes they are the hero and how they make decision. There's no consultation, no consideration of us. But let's go straight to the caller again.
We have an obligation to nitpick, I argue.
Go ahead, Holly. Can you hear me? That line's not working? Okay, I'm sorry about that. Go ahead. Okay, let me read this text. Let me see the last one. While we're arguing over colors, marble thieves done thief the whole bag. I'm not sure what that means, right? And basically, say you're splitting hairs over triviality, linguistic, semantical, gymnastics
Pause.
talks.
Let me just say something to you, Texter. This is how the politicians in the political class keep taking advantage of you because you don't realize that the focus is where the hairs are split. Okay, it requires a deeper level of political interrogation. That the politicians will not allow for it should suggest to you how important it is. You've got to take this work up yourselves as citizens and not just demand it be done, but ensure it be done because you're doing it. And that links us right back to the migrant conversation. We haven't even gotten into what it is deeply that Mr. Mitchell said.
Go ahead.
Right? Mr. Mitchell said, we need more people. And if we're not going to increase the population rate ourselves, then we need to bring in migrants. That's what he said. See a caller there, producer? Let's try it out.
Did it work this time?
I trying. Let's go. Good morning, caller. You're on Guardian Radio AM.
That line is gone.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the chairman. Go ahead.
The conversations I was attempting to have were to prepare the Bahamian people for what I thought was going to be the inevitable conversation from the government. You don't have enough people to drive the economy, and you don't have enough people to satisfy the development, the construction, foreign direct investment. Right? Like that's it.
So we need an entire show just to talk about that.
Yeah.
And then just dissect what the chairman was trying to say.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got to go. It's
Absolutely.
12 o'clock, and the news is next. And, of course, Howard is on the other side of that. It has been Guided Radio on the AM with C.A. Newry, and, of course, Aaron Green was with me. Have a wonderful day.